That's the sound of your current hype level at the gas pump. But brace yourself for something fuel nominal, because Unleaded 88 is about to take the hype to a whole new level. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, cleaner, and greener than regular unleaded. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, brought to you by Iowa Corn.
This is still off the record. Yeah.
Right? Oh, it can be. Yeah. Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
Girls, give it to me. How you doing? Where are you at? Where are my girls at?
Not bad, actually. Oh. It's a beautiful day. I went to the pool after
okay.
work, and it's great weather. Felt great.
That's really nice, Ann. That's good. Yeah. Leah, it's a very special week for you. What? hey, listeners at home, you can play along.
What very special week.
What very special week is it for Leah?
Should we leave a pause for them to shout it out at home?
Yeah, shout it out. Oh, what's the answer? It's that it's Leah's week to share something that's making her so happy.
Good job, boys and girls.
Did you come prepared? I know there have been some things the past few days making you really unhappy. Do you want to talk about those first, or do you want to set those aside and just focus on the happiness?
No, the podcast is a place of happy place. Place of happy place. Well, you know what's not making me happy? The English language, I'll tell you for free.
No,
and I think that when
a place of happy place.
When I start the podcast out with sentences like that, it only goes downhill.
I hope it goes absolutely buck wild tonight. I hope we say things that are so unfathomable to the human mind.
Just incomprehensible. And shouldn't be comprehended. Can't and shouldn't.
Okay, Leah.
Yeah, I think that was a good segment.
No, Leah. This podcast is a place for a happy place.
Yeah, you can't wiggle out of this one. Be happy, God
be happy. What'd you think of?
My thing that's making me happy is this season of Interview with a Vampire.
Oh
with
my God.
The Vampire. All right.
With the
I
vampire.
always say a vampire when it's
Me too.
pretty critical to the plot that it's the vampire.
It is, but
is it plot critical?
Well, because it's a specific vampire. It's not just any vampire.
But he's not the only vampire, though,
No.
right?
But he's the coolest.
But
So he's a vampire.
Well,
I actually don't really know why it's that plot critical, but I also always say Interview with a Vampire. Speak on it, Leah. Say more.
Yeah.
it's a really, really good season. I have seen the movie more than once, but as with everything, have no actual memory of this plot. So I know that Claudia at some point will not be with us, and I have no idea where it's going, and I completely forgot how this is happening. And I think they just keep surprising me what they're doing next. And these actors, it is so rare these days that you get two people on screen and you're like, they would fuck real good. But those two,
you're right, because they don't do chemistry testing anymore.
They don't do chemistry testing.
Wrestling's one of the few places where you do still see it. That's why we're here.
But they don't always do the chemistry testing they need to do either.
Not
And we
always.
have lambasted Tony for that before, and we've said everybody needs to line up and practice kissing to see how it looks.
I know.
And no one has told us that that's happening backstage yet, unfortunately.
We're going to start emailing hello@allelitewrestling.com to get some feedback in there.
Yeah, with our many thoughts and ideas for how AEW can succeed.
But maybe mostly this practice kissing one. That would be the number one idea, maybe.
That one in the room, I think. Those are a big two to lean on.
Critical, yeah. It is such a good show, and this season is so good. And we've had the delightful experience of, because we're watching it, when does it actually air? I feel like it's on Thursday. It might be Thursdays or Fridays or something.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But we're not watching it till Mondays, so I start to see the Twitter reaction about it over the weekend, and at least once I've had to see people being like, lots of people were so mad about this episode of Interview with the Vampire. And I'm like, oh no, they were mad. They didn't like it. I guess it might be a bad episode. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh, it fucking slapped. Yeah. I love the experience of being worried that something will be bad and then being like, oh no, it's your taste that's bad. This is good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that people are constantly trying to cancel vampire media because they're like, do murder.
Oh, 'cause they're old?
And no, because
Is it age gap discourse?
Age gap.
Because they're old. No, because they're murderers.
they're murderers, Allie. They're bad people, unrepentant.
I forgot about that. I guess they do murder a lot, for sure, but I guess I've never really been that worried about it, so... I guess I'm just kind of like, that's fiction, baby. People do die.
Allie, if you celebrate a vampire eating somebody, you're telling real murderers that's okay that they did murder.
I know, yeah. I'm telling them that every day.
Real murderers
it's
are
okay
out
to
here
murder.
Being like, well, if the vampire can murder people, why can't I?
If the vampire is allowed to murder, but I am not, make it make sense. It's like, well, it's like the way that Donald Trump, a felon, can be president, but felons aren't allowed to vote. It was similar to that. That was political. Okay. We are just gonna.
I would like the round of applause that I was promised every time I did my one thing that I was going to do. Yeah, we said that I get a round of applause. Thank you and thank you. All right, now we can move on.
Okay, now we can move on. We are just going to quickly plug up front here that we are going to be doing a little charity stream in June. And do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about this?
Yeah, so we're doing a charity stream. We got invited by Martin from Poison Rana Pod to come on their 12-hour stream that's raising money for the Maddie Cusack Foundation, which is a foundation that works with helping female football players. So we're really excited about it. The whole stream is from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern on June 29th? On June 29th. So we're going to be on it from 2 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to, I think, play some games and have a good time and do a little chit-chat and raise some money. So we'll link out to the donation page and the stream, too.
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes like Real Pods.
Oh.
But I think it'll be a face reveal for us, which is going to be pretty huge.
That's true. If you want to see these beautiful faces.
So I'm going to have to shower before this. That's not what I usually do.
Probably wearing bras for this one.
Yeah, bras and showered. Yeah, this could be a change.
I'll shower, I'll wash my hair, I'll put on my bra, and I'll go to town.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very excited for this. And did we get the sign off on our suggestion for how we'd spend our half an hour?
We did. Enthusiastic.
Hell yeah.
We will be making Martin play the dating game and then potentially introducing him to Hunk University.
Oh, to explore our rich world of Hunk University.
Yeah. Sort some hunks, yeah.
And I believe Trish and Sarah are also doing it, although I don't know what slot they got. And I think Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics is doing it. I think there's a couple,
they've got a great lineup of shining stars like us.
Like us. Yeah, it totally makes sense that we're on this. Yeah.
It seems normal and fine. Well, we'll try to be fun, and we'd like it if you watched, and we'd like it if you helped support female football players.
Please. Yeah.
Because we like females of all types. Okay. So you guys want...
During Pride Month? Yeah, absolutely.
During Pride Month especially. We love females. Proud of females.
Do you think Martin's going to like this plug?
We're degenerating so quickly into this podcast.
I came in degenerated. We was beat when we was born, okay? Do you guys want to talk wrestling?
Yeah.
We have to. We have no choice. The Acclaimed came out on Dynamite this week for one of those classic wrestling segments where, like, in the moment, you're kind of like, this is normal. And then afterwards, you were like, wait, but if they hadn't been interrupted, what were they going to do? And it's like nothing. But they were interrupted. So Max Caster was rapping about the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks popped up on a big video screen. And they said it's very inappropriate to disparage the EVPs. And as a result, we won't be hearing from or seeing the Acclaimed tonight. Your segment has been cut. Clear the area. Let's have a great show. And they are my EVPs. Later in the show, the Acclaimed approached the EVP dressing room to confront the Bucks, but were held back by security. And they said, we're just here to let you know that sooner or later, you're going to have to come face to face with us, and you're not going to like it. And then they kind of made fun of the Bucks' little EVP mannerisms. What did you guys think of this interaction between Acclaimed and Elite this week on AEW TV?
I think a lot of people seemed kind of bad about it, and I just kept being like, what do you want the Elite to be doing? Like, there's no tag teams, and the Acclaimed need some help, and it's not that annoying. Yeah. Like, they haven't even done much yet. People are pre-mad. Sometimes when people, like, get mad about stuff like this, I'm like, all right, fantasy book. What would you have the Elite be doing? And they don't have answers.
Why do you say that instead of just let them cook?
Well, it is funny, like, when you look at the tag divisions, like, there are, like, a lot of injuries, and then it's just, like, the FTR tag reign really, like, now all the tag teams, which before, like, felt kind of big, like, now feel really small time, and I think, like, the being, like, segregated onto Collision, like, didn't help anything, but then it's also just, like, FTR, like, they can only have good matches with certain kinds of wrestlers, and they never give anyone, like, a chance to display their personalities because they just do the same promo to everyone. Like, I don't know if I've ever
You don't think it's, like, a really cool creative choice to just always do the same promo? It's kind of cool.
This morning, for some reason, I was thinking about it. I was like, have the FTR ever really seemed aware of who they were fighting? And it's like, I don't know that they have.
No,
not in a long time. Again, like, they did used to be fun. I think that CM Punk truly rotted their brains out. Like, at the very, very beginning, they were willing to try.
I guess I don't remember it. And I guess the last time I liked them was when they were in the Pinnacle.
Costumes. Oh, the Pinnacle.
Just frog. No. I didn't like them in the frog costumes.
You so confidently finished her sentence with the frog costumes. Yeah, we all agree.
It's the only time I can remember them being fun at all. They did dress up like frogs once.
They did, but I don't have good memories of it because that was the time that CM Punk was on commentary, and the other commentators were like, oh, who could this possibly be? And 2 seconds into the segment, CM Punk was like, seems like FTR. And then everyone was silent for a minute, and it was like, he's not supposed to say that. And no one has ever confirmed that he wasn't supposed to say that, but it was all I could think of for the whole segment. And it was I think it was right around when we were starting to be like, CM Punk may be kind of weird. He really stressed me out on commentary early on. I don't know why we're talking about this.
But doesn't that make the frogs funnier, though? It's like, also, CM Punk ruined the frog, so that's kind of hilarious.
I guess that he ruined something they were doing is fun. Yeah, since you put it that way from now on, I will say the last time FTR were fun was when CM Punk ruined their frog costumes. When they went to a masked ball as frogs and CM Punk unmasked them immediately. And they were just there in their underwear. So, okay. Well, I agree that we have no tag teams left, basically. And so for that reason, this seems fine. And as Leah pointed out last week, they do have to rehabilitate the individual tag teams one by one. And that's what they'll be doing. Now, I do want to read you guys something. I just remembered this line. So give me one moment as I hopefully find it here. Now, Anne, you did say you were excited to see a Bucks Acclaimed match. And I agree that I think it will be fun. But Manolo went somewhere that was a little beyond what I had been thinking. So he said, the EVPs need to use their power to regain their bite. On Dynamite, seeds were planted for the Bucks versus the Acclaimed. And that match would be electric in the atmosphere of Wembley Stadium.
Oh, wow.
The tricky part is keeping the fire hot as we move through Forbidden Door. Have you for 1 second, and I'm worried I didn't know I had to worry about this. Have you for 1 second thought that the Bucks will be fighting with the Acclaimed all summer long and then fight them at Wembley Stadium?
No,
I certainly had
actually,
not, but now it's like they might because
One
like what
fear.
other tag teams are there?
Yeah. I was honestly kind of shocked when you put in the schedule, is this what they're doing for Forbidden Door? I was like, is it? But like, I thought that like, I'm like, the Acclaimed versus the Elite is a Dynamite match. It's not a Forbidden Door match. It's a Dynamite match. It's not a Wembley match for sure.
Well, it would
But who
actually
are
be
they gonna fight at Wembley?
electric in the environment of Wembley Stadium.
Now I'm stressed. They can't fight FTR again at Wembley. They have to fight somebody fun.
I do not think that this is right. I need to talk to Manolo about
maybe Dustin Chuck Taylor will come back. I'm just kidding. He's not getting surgery until the fall.
Well, we'll get to that later. You know what? We'll get to that later. Okay. Well, anyway, still later in the show, we had another Backstage Bucks segment, this time with the patriarchy. So Christian was mad that he lost to Swerve at Double or Nothing. He said, if there's anybody that I can trust to make the right decision in this company, it's the EVPs. It's no secret to you that I was screwed out of the World Heavyweight Championship at Double or Nothing. That is a full Arrested Development delivery of that line. You are Tobias Funke. I need you, but I assume that Christian knows what he's doing, and that's why he's an ally, and he's the love of my life, and happy Pride.
Real load-bearing pause. You love to see it.
Christian wants another world title shot. So Matt and Nick responded by saying they love him to death. They wish they could hand the title right over. If we had it our way, I'd say, why don't you take a belt? You take a belt. You all deserve gold. Unfortunately, cockblock Christopher Daniels prevents it. But they do, quote, still have some stroke at AEW and promise to see what they can do. And as I've said here, anything to keep the customer happy. These guys can manage a target. They can manage anything they put their minds to. What did you guys think?
Shows have been great. They've been doing a great job since they took over. So
that's my EVPs.
Having a good time.
Did you guys enjoy this further meeting of the factions?
Again, the fact that the heels are doing a great job of like intermixing backstage and the faces are shit at it. That's why this world is how it is.
Yeah. It's because good people don't talk, but bad people love to.
That's our conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it seems kind of right.
I do love that the Jacksons are still keeping like their little minion heel factions that they're paying off, getting to do stuff like that relationship. Keep it going, love it.
I'm interested to see where it goes because I thought they promised that Christian will be happy with what they managed to do here. And I thought, well, I don't think that Christian is going to get the world title. So will he be happy? What will you be able to offer him? So I'm interested to see whether they can keep all of their heels satisfied or whether the rabid beast will start to turn on them.
Yeah. The vibe very much was like, as they were talking to the patriarchy, like, Matt at times had like a very like I'm bluffing like bluffing at a lion right now, you know what I mean? Absolutely. So it's like, they could turn on him at any moment. Yeah.
He knows he's got some dangerous creatures on his hand. Which is fun. It's a very fun vibe. I was going to say that when I was like thinking about, what did I think of this? I thought, like, what would be so fun is if sometimes you got to see these and then you got to see the heels privately being like, those guys are fucking insane, but you just have to work. You just have to deal with them sometimes because it's, like, not worth not. And then I was like, oh, if we still had BTE, we would see it on BTE for sure. Mm-hmm. We would be seeing that kind of thing. But it's not a fair or a just world, so we don't have BTE, so we don't see it.
I really wish they showed us like so much more shit talking than they do, because I feel like a lot of like unlikely allies could really bond by shit talking someone else in the division, and even like Trent with his sociopath thing. It's just like, just show me people like in their dressing room being like, oh my god, I can't believe what he just did.
I know.
I thought, do you mean I'm not sure you did. Do you mean show us people bitching about Trent nonstop, bitching about OC being a sociopath? Because I agree that I want to see it. I want to see people being like, if he does not stop coming up to me, and it's like, I get it, dude. He screwed you over. Like, I can't hear about it anymore. Yeah. I do want to see people bonding over that.
I think that would be fantastic. Really, any like heel really on one, I think should be annoying a lot of people backstage for sure.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay, and then our final topic from the Elite Zone. Christopher Daniels did come out to make another announcement about the TNT title ladder match at Forbidden Door on Dynamite. Not a good sentence. So Takeshita won a spot in this match by fighting Penta on Rampage. And then, God, this is all horrible. And then on Dynamite, Mark Briscoe beat Brian Cage for the second spot in what will be a 4-person match. JB was watching from backstage, and he cut a brief promo about how, quote, he's proven that nobody is willing to sacrifice more than me, and, quote, he can't be stopped. The universe has already chosen me, and one way or another, I am the next TNT champion. Ominous words from a man with fury in his voice, and what else?
He had anime eyes. Like, it was killing me because, like, if you closed your eyes and just listened, he was very furious and very angry. But I think this was the first time we really saw him, like, straight on. And his big brown Bambi eyes were so open. And he said, look at me. Love me. I'm being such a good heel. I'm a good boy, but I'm pretending to be a big heel.
I'm so good at my job.
So
it
correct.
betrayed him big time.
He's got big sweet boy eyes. It was crazy. It really struck me too. Like, I didn't phrase it as anime eyes, but it was like, that's a sweet big brown eyed boy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You love to see it. It's so fun. He did a good job, but it is so fun to just be like, aw, your nature shines through.
I'm worried that it's gonna come off like insult. Like, I think he's not convincing. He is. It's just that his eyes betray him as, like, when you really look at him, you're like, oh.
But he got a sweet face. He can't help it.
Just a baby. He's just a baby. Oh, you want to fight? You want to fight?
You're so ferocious. You're so ferocious.
Did you guys like that line? The universe has already chosen me. I was like, wow, that's deep. That
it kind
much to think about.
It kind of implies that he thinks maybe the Young Bucks and the universe are kind of equated, which...
The Young Bucks talk to God every night when they say their prayers.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what else was interesting about this TNT ladder match qualifier, girls? What else did we learn?
Brian Cage walked out and all three of us at the same time typed. It's weird. I feel very fond of Brian Cage right now. So
he got
that
us.
happened to all of us independently.
He finally got us.
I don't know. I can't pinpoint when that happened because we've been making the Brian Cage's mouth jokes for so long.
It's because we thought he was funny with the Swerve stuff, the Swerve Mogul Embassy stuff. But I don't even remember what he said or who he was promoting on. Was it Hook? Was it when he was fighting? Was he fighting a small boy? One of the smaller ones? Was Hook or something?
It's a great question.
But I'm just like, that's my friend.
He did some good promos, like one or two where he was funny and he had good heel motivation. He and Trent both had good explanations around the same time for like why they were doing what they were doing, which it doesn't take much for us, you know. You can turn us around on 2-3 years of
and I did useless. I like the moxie of like he didn't actually give like probably nobody would let him give a backstage promo, so he just recorded it on his iPhone and posted it himself to Twitter. But then it was a really good promo, so
get
I'm like,
out
good
there,
for you.
hustle, that's how you get that TV.
Yeah,
time.
we like when people have that grind set. That's what we like the most.
He got that dog in him.
He got that dog in him. Absolutely, let him cook. We're forced to internalize these phrases every day in the IWC.
We get told them, and then we say them.
They get stuck in there.
We're at kind of like by getting into wrestling, we went into like kind of a male exchange school program, and we're learning a lot of exciting new sports phrases. And
That's right. I should be working those into our interview with the Vampire Watches. Like sometimes it's like Lestat is saying something so crazy, and I'm just like, let him cook. What was I going to say? Oh, no, girls. It was about Brian Cage, and I really wanted to say it for some reason.
Oh, speaking of Brian Cage's mouth and the dirigible that we fly into it, the PGA was here in Louisville, and when me and my parents were driving back from vacation, we were passing where it was, and my mom was like, "Oh, look, the dirigible is up there that like is taking the overhead pictures of the PGA," and I was like, "Oh, wow!" I just don't hear that word in life a lot, and there were like 2 or 3 of them, and I was like, "I'm having the time of my life. I love to look at dirigibles over the PGA."
Now, Anne, do you want me to cut that and you do it again and say Louisville? Louis?
Okay. Scotty Scheffler got arrested, and it turns out it was justified because he's saying Louisville all over the place, and it's really offensive.
What more justification would they need? I love that. And can you believe that the first time that dirigibles came up, it was just me saying that I wanted to be in one.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like
your dad had been telling you about them, or
my
your mom?
dad told me that there's a company in Spain that is experimenting with dirigibles again, and then I just confidently said, like, because we could have avoided everything that went wrong with the Hindenburg. Like, that's like, so I think we should get back in dirigibles. If the Hindenburg didn't have to happen, then yeah, I think it's time to get back to dirigibles. I think it's like the most unfortunately steampunk thing I've ever said. But what I actually wanted to point out was Anne, it was something you said about us learning to love Brian Cage. And you were like, look, our hearts are open. And I felt so smug about that, actually, where I was like, that's so true.
Yeah.
And I think we've said it quite a few times recently, but I still really like to drive home the point, you can get us.
You can always get us.
Anybody can get us.
Wardlow wore sweats one time, and we were all in for like a week until he stopped.
And I think it's cool. I think that's something that's cool about us.
I think so. Our opinions are very responsive to what we see on screen, so very little is fixed.
Very
Honestly, someone in our Discord was like we were talking about people that Chuck Taylor could manage, and this will come up later, but like discussing like whether he could manage Wardlow, and I was just like, that would get me, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If Chuck Taylor was teaching Wardlow how to be the laziest fuckboy in the world, of course.
Wouldn't it be so fun to see Wardlow giving one of his big shouting promos, and you just have Dustin there just looking like he has a little headache, like he's just like, dude, I would just do it different. We kind of talked about doing it different, but
he's got the whole like ROH promo energy of that one where he's like, dude, take your hat off. Just be like, why are you yelling? Like, you're trying to act tough. This is so stupid.
I'd like to see it. Okay. And you know what? We can't even get into all that because none of us are sure what information we have about this is correct. So I think I'll simply skip it and move on to Mariah May, who fought Saraya on Dynamite. And Toni Storm cut a Collision promo about it that began Saraya. Oh my God. I don't know why I sometimes forget. Saraya, how dare you mock the child that nourishes at my teat? Bosom, she shouts. And of course, Mariah May flings herself into the screen onto the bosom, hitting Luther. She apologizes.
She also hit the belt pretty hard and hurt herself. And then Toni had to be like, sorry.
She hurt her face.
Absolutely amazing stuff. This bit is so fucking funny.
She keeps finding new depths of it. She said, my forbidden door is wide open. It's
she
just
did,
like,
yes.
And
she's a genius.
What made that was Mariah's face after that, where she was just like, can you say that?
And she kind of looked down at Toni, like, oh, up and down.
Like, is it?
Yeah.
They're just perfect, and I don't
just
care.
Really funny.
I don't care if other people don't like it. I like it so much, and it's for me, and it's Pride Month, so I'm allowed to have it.
Yeah. I don't
That's
care
right.
what they say. I'm in love with you. Okay, and then we also had, honestly, I thought Saraya and Harley Cameron had a pretty funny promo, too. So I was pretty happy with all the women going into this.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you guys are showing personality in the biggest possible way. I'm
like
really delighted.
Soraya's really kind of landed in a good place. Like, we don't see her that much, but she's, like, funny when we do, and she's doing, like, vaguely funny things and not taking up too much time. It's great.
She's being an incredible goof, and I would not have guessed that these two would be good together, and somehow they are. We're both of them. I like them very much, and so I'm like, you know, I could honestly see them a tiny bit more than I see them. Like, maybe we could have, like, a little Rampage, like, section.
Yeah. If they wanted to get on Rampage a little more often, I would like that. Someone's going to yell at us for that.
Oh, I know.
Okay, I liked this match, but to be honest, it's been a bit of a rough week for me. So I don't think that I watched it that closely, but I think it was fine. Saraya won. Tony was on commentary. Afterwards, the Outcast, which is just Saraya and Harley at this point. So I'm kind of like, you guys need a new name, maybe, like the Funny Girls, or we could workshop it.
the Funny Girls, I think.
Yeah, I think the Funny Girls. Yeah, we'll just stop there.
Elliot, why don't you send Funny Girls to hello at allelitewrestling.com?
Should I have like a body to that email, or do you think it's just like the title?
Then put EOM after it, like Harley and Saraya in the subject line should be the Funny Girls EOM and then nothing in the body. Yeah.
Love that. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. We are members of Tony Khan's business, whether he knows it or not. Okay, so the Outcasts were beating up Mariah and Tony. Mina Shirakawa ran out for the save, and she drove them off, and then she dropped to her knees to tenderly cradle Mariah in her arms. And across the ring, Tony cast her this great baleful look of like, you cradle my child. You cradle my child. I'm nourished from my teat. Sexually a little bit. And so then Mina and Tony both leapt up, and they did this great. I think there was something about it that just seemed so perfectly self-aware of like when men are being really aggro with each other that they just started like breast bumping. Like they were, I don't know. Like I was just like, you're so funny. This is so for me somehow.
Yeah.
They really bring like an energy of like, women are here and we're going to be disgusting and sexual and you're all just going to have to deal with it like in a making space for yourself way, which I love.
It's amazing. And so then Mariah rushed in to break them up, to be like, my two special girls don't fight. And then she pressed both. I'm doing so many arm movements in this segment, by the way. She pressed both of their heads each to one part of her bosom on either side. And
Mariah has two breasts. So.
She has two breasts, and they looked, Mina and Tony both looked quite startled. And then Mariah sank to her knees in exhaustion between them, just kind of clutching at them alternately and gazing. Honestly, this was a beautiful shot. Someone should do an oil painting of this. Yeah. And Mina and Tony continued to kind of vamp at each other and be like, we're fighting at the forbidden door, the open forbidden door. Loved it. Happy.
What the hell is this forbidden door match going to be like for Mariah? Like, who's she going to walk in with?
Yeah. Is she going to cheer for both of them?
I was very interested in the way that she was playing the body language stuff in this segment because of how much more she was leaning on Mina than on Tony. But then she seemed to keep remembering, I thought it was done really well, that she kept being like, oh, but I have to hug my Tony as well. But just this, when she's looking up at Tony too, it's very, the psychosexual stew is good. Perpetual. It's been cooking.
Yeah.
We're adding something new every week.
Yeah. It's such a good build for these two because, like, I am so excited to see what's going to happen because it's just like, wow, we're in a complicated situation.
Uh-huh.
And when the day comes when we see a Mariah-Tony match, I'm going to be freaking out. I'm going to be flipping my lid.
That Tony is going to do to Mariah's body, I'm going to lose my mind.
I know. I need it to happen though, because sometimes we get so excited and then the match never happen. They of course they clearly are planning to do it, but it really has to happen though.
No,
yeah. No. It's one of those things where it's like in wrestling, like someone could get injured or who knows what. Like things are just so tenuous, but yeah.
We never got that Britt Jamie match.
That's
that
what
we
I
were
was
all
thinking
dying
about.
For.
Yeah.
But that was
That's
for multiple reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be weird when Mina goes back to
I feel
too.
I don't
so
want
to.
devastated whenever I think of the Stardom girls going home.
I
I'm
know.
miserable. I don't want them to leave.
No.
Many people will say, you could watch them on Stardom. Well, I can't right now.
We can't.
I just can't onboard that in my
can't.
With
life
our
right
state
now.
mandated 5 to 7 hours of AEW television every single week.
The amount of wrestling that other people can watch, I listen to Waffly Bollocks every week, and those girls are constantly watching so many kinds of wrestling, and I'm like,
No.
I can't. I can't.
No. We've got to
can't.
keep our minds spry with other
Sharp.
media.
No. We
Broken.
need to be watching Interview with the Vampire and, in my case, Gossip Girl relentlessly.
Oh.
Just so that we have a little something interesting to say about the wrestling because we can't talk about the moves.
No. So we've got to supplement.
We've got to supplement. Well, very excited. Had a great time. Can't wait for Forbidden Door for these guys.
Yeah.
That's the sound of your current hype level at the gas pump. But brace yourself for something fuel nominal, because Unleaded 88 is about to take the hype to a whole new level. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, cleaner, and greener than regular unleaded. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, brought to you by Iowa Corn.
This podcast is sponsored by Monarch Money. Are you saving to reach your financial goals? Reaching those goals isn't just about getting more money, but by managing what you have. And the best way to manage your money? Monarch Money. Monarch Money is a new kind of finance app that's intuitive, powerful, ad-free, and takes the headaches out of budgeting. Try it free when you go to monarchmoney.com/podcast. Monarch puts all your accounts, investments, transactions, and finances at your fingertips. With a complete view of your finances, you'll gain insights on your spending and find new ways to save. Plus, Monarch lets you customize your dashboard, collaborate with your partner, set custom budgets and goals, and track your progress toward them. See why Mint users are turning to Monarch Money and loving it, and why the Wall Street Journal named Monarch Money the best budgeting app overall. Get a 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/podcast. That's MONARCH money.com/podcast for your free trial. monarchmoney.com/podcast.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so Dustin Chuck Taylor he was on Close Up with Renee on the AEW YouTube channel this week, which was one of the more shocking things that's ever happened to me. Hearing that he was going to do this, it was like, who's blackmailing you? How did they get you to agree to this? Did they tempt you into a room and then shut the door and lock it and say,
They were like, it's great, you want a backstage job. You want to keep that backstage job? Renee's going to talk to you.
We really needed this, though. I mean,
real bad.
I think it wasn't going to be good for us if we didn't get this kind of clarity about his situation. And I appreciated the number of things Renee said in that interview that I was sweatily thinking to myself, like, someone has to ask him this. And she asked. She understood the assignment. She is one of the best hires that AEW has ever made. 100%. She's perfect. She's my dream girl, and she's me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The remarkable Renee Paquette.
I would like to propose, and let's draft an email, that Renee set up a monthly check-in.
Yeah.
Where, she sits Dustin down and she says, what progress have you made? Did you schedule your surgery?
Yes.
Oh my
Are
God.
you thinking about how you're going to retool your moveset? Are you, what strides are you making towards getting on commentary?
Yeah.
You know?
Have you talked to anybody about your on-screen manager role that you're going to have? the girls need it, Dustin.
In this interview was a little bit that someone had been like, I think he just needs at least one therapy session to work through some of this stuff, but he'll never agree to go. And Renee was like, I got you. He'll do close-up and I'll do the work. And I'll ask the questions.
She's like, no problem. I have no problem asking men who don't want to talk about their feelings about their feelings.
And Dustin had the funniest vibe in it. For some reason, it reminded me of when you go to your psychiatrist's office to do a meds thing, and they're like, "So how is everything?" And you're like, "Well, I'm on meds, but you're not my therapist, so like I'm just gonna kind of like keep it concise.
Yeah. I know. The other funny thing I thought was I kind of landed on like I thought like they were definitely exaggerating the injury. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I think there's like a chance he couldn't come back, but probably he can. But I was also like, I might just be too hopeful. But when Renee was like, wow, so your injury, it's career ending, and his vibe, he's so not a worker compared to other wrestlers who are always lying, because he was very like career ending. Like, who told you that? Like, I hadn't heard that. Like, I mean, no, I'll probably be back.
They've been saying that on TV every
on TV constantly. Okay, yeah, career ending. He doesn't watch the show.
It was an interesting interview because she got to it right away, and he was like. He gave her the whole, I could not have been more grateful. He gave her the whole timeline of when the injury happened, who is to blame for the injury. he said it wasn't. It's himself, but we know now that it's Angelo Jeff Parker. So
who's already on our shit list, and now
that's right. He's been on our shit list.
He abandoned his son, and then he tried to assassinate mine? Are you fucking kidding me here?
Absolute fucking sicko shit. Of course, I'm happy that you're back together with your ex-husband, and of course, I hope that continues to go well, but it will be some time before I can look at you without the daggers flying from my eyes.
Rebuild trust. It takes
some time. Huge amount of trust to be rebuilt. Anyway, he gave us the whole timeline, and he said he can get this surgery. It wasn't healing. He can get the surgery. He may be able to come back. And Renee seemed so excited, which I loved. And she was really being like, let's get positive. Let's get optimistic. Let's talk about that. I felt like Dustin's reaction, I love this. This is a real play-by-play. I felt like Dustin's reaction was a little bit like her optimism made him, it felt to me like he was doing a thing where he was like, I don't want to think too much about if it goes well and I can come back. I want to make peace with the idea that potentially I can't, which it felt like he had done. Yeah. So I didn't take from the ending that he was like, I'll definitely never come back. I just was like, I think that in this moment, it makes sense that maybe you don't want to engage that much with it. You just want to, you want to make sure that you have your backstage role that you can do. Yeah. Instead, that you're shocked people gave you because you're so sweet and stupid. You're the sweetest, stupidest boy of all time. You don't know how loved you are. You don't know you're loved.
I love that the thing. Like, I agree with you that I think Dustin was coming from a place where he's like, I've made peace either way. But like, I think Renee was coming from a place where she's like, and I'm married to someone who will fucking self-destruct if he wasn't allowed to wrestle.
For sure. Yeah,
so totally. To keep you from like that happening to you, like, what can we do? We can change things around. We'll change your fighting style. Like, just literally being like, I know how you are. You wrestlers, and that's I think part of Dustin being like, well, I think me and Mox might be a little different.
Well, Dustin also had the energy of being like clearly being like, well, I'm gonna age out pretty soon regardless, because he is like 38, which
I know, but it's just like, Dustin, I think that you would be so good at doing some really fun, relatively low impact stuff.
Totally.
And that's what I'd like to see
he can
from
do
you.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to see. And what I didn't like, this is the takeaway that we alluded to that I really didn't like, was that Renee correctly said, when's the surgery? Mm-hmm. And Dustin said, well, I'm kind of training on this backstage role, so you don't want to leave halfway through training and you don't know everything. I'm like, yeah, you do. Go get surgery. He said,
you can get trained after when you're recovering from surgery.
Yeah. So he said, I think probably I'll schedule it in the fall. I said, hey, you're in America. Schedule it now, bitch.
Yeah, actually, especially with
it now.
An orthopedic, it's going to take a few months to get in.
It's time to get it on
June
the books,
right
baby.
Now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's that. So that I didn't.
It was great. She asked him though, like, thank God for Renee.
Thank God for her. But Dustin, if you lift that restraining order, we will call for you. We will schedule the appointment for you.
Your personal assistant.
Buddy.
I know you've asked us to stop offering to be your personal assistant, but we won't.
Emailing hello@allelitewrestling.com.
Buddy boys.
Just give Dustin our number. We'll tell him we'll do it.
All we want to do is schedule a surgery for him.
we wouldn't be freaks about it.
It wouldn't be weird. He'd like it. Anyway, so that's our special guy update. Okay, that's our special little guy update. Breaking news. I think we're feeling...
Just skip forward through the segment if you're like, it's just their special guy. Like, I know they're going to be crazy.
You know it. We know it. We all know it. It's our special little guy we're insane about. And I think we feel better, though, now that we saw
I feel a little better.
Yeah.
One thing about the special little guy segment, I think sometimes, like, some of the discussion around it made it seem like, you know, like it's bad to have a special guy.
Yeah,
it's so important. I want to be clear.
Important.
It is the joy of life to bring a special guy into your home. It is only that you just have to be aware that you're like, I'm going to do a special guy segment. It's going to be fucking nuts because I'm going to sound like a lunatic.
I think other wrestling fans and podcasters need to embrace the special little guy because a lot of them don't seem like they're having a good time watching wrestling. So, you know, and you're doing a lot of watching wrestling and talking about wrestling, and you're in your wrestling discords and on your wrestling Twitter, and you know, it's fun to have a special guy.
It's fun to have a special guy. And also, it gives you, like, a real permission to say whatever you want. Like, if you're just like, hey, I know he's my special guy, but Matt Sydal should get a world title shot. Who's going to yell at you? You've already just claimed it.
Exactly.
But I guess the part of it, though, is it's like you do need to sit down with yourself, and you do have to figure out who your special guys are. And you can't say that you don't have any and that you don't have anyone that you can't talk about completely objectively, because it's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably not true. I mean, maybe some of you are sitting there and you're thinking, no, that's me, and I celebrate you, but I can only speak to many of the personalities I see on display in our community every day, acting like, don't ever accuse me of having a special little guy. I'm a source of objective truth about what I'm watching on screen. You're not. It's okay. It's cool. It's fun.
Okay to be a human being who enjoys wrestling and enjoys certain wrestlers more than other wrestlers. That's in fact
what are
the
we doing
normalest thing.
What are we doing if you don't have that? What are you doing here? You have to love somebody so much it make you crazy. You got it. My God. Oh, okay, great. That's good that we cleared that up. Let's move on to talking about Orange Cassidy, who was in a 4-way match versus Kyle O'Reilly, Ray Phoenix, and Jay Lethal on Dynamite. I said that for entrance into for a shot at the international title held by Will Ospreay himself, the specialist guy of them all. OC came out to the Pixies again, and Jay Lethal got pinned by Phoenix. So Phoenix is going to fight Will Ospreay at some point in the future, I think. And while he was celebrating, Don Callis led Greg out. And Greg came down and entered the ring while OC was on the sidelines. And they got into a little, you know, kind of mad face acting staring match. Greg had a chair. OC pulled some chain out from under the ring and wrapped it around his fist and got into the ring. And then Kris ran in to break things up, in air quotes, and she was imploring OC not to do any violence. But then when he dropped the chain, she clocked him in the face, and Willow ran out for the save. Later, we got a promo backstage from Willow about her emotional condition, and we got a promo later about from Kris and Greg, where Kris was laying out her beef with OC, and Greg, of course, was chiming in with some of his classic lines. What did you guys think?
They did such a good job with this. I thought OC's face acting really went to a new level in this one. He looked so mad.
He looked like he was pulsing with anger.
Yeah, and then so devastated when Kris hit him, which also, like, just having seen, like, him on his, like, shoot Twitch streams with Kris and calling her Kris, like, knowing that they're real friends, it did feel very devastating, and he looked so upset. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
He has no one. I mean, he has Willow now, but
when he was all alone out there before Willow came out, it was so devastating.
Horrible. Mm-hmm. A man who is meant to have friends.
He was meant to have friends.
So, do you guys... Oh, go ahead.
I loved Kris and Greg's promo afterwards, though, because it was like that. I had this revelation somewhere in the middle of it where it's like, you know, that thing sometimes when people like are not having, like when a relationship is going south, and it's like, I think there was like some Reddit post that was going around recently where a guy was like, said to his wife, like, oh, come look, there's a bunch of really cool birds in the tree outside. And the wife like was like dismiss it and was like, no, I'm not doing that. And he like had this moment where he was like, I can't be married to her anymore. And it's like crazy because it's like you divorced your wife over the birds, but it was like a long-standing thing of like not feeling like she cares. That was Kris's whole like vibe during that thing where she's like, where she was like, I've just been waiting for OC to care about me the way like me and Greg cared about him. And it was like, yeah, I know that feeling. And I didn't expect you to have a compelling like thing to add to this too. And that was really good. I liked it.
I know. Her promos have been really good. Like, her delivery has gotten so much better. And then that one was, it was a really good, like, logical little thing. I was like, she and Greg have really been, I mean, they're probably sitting around backstage talking about how OC is a narcissist and riling each other up.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing good work
They've been
together.
working each other into a froth.
I know wrestling just doesn't, unless you're Hangman, doesn't do like a face journey. They just don't care about it in the same way. But it would be so good if this ends in a place where like OC does something for Dustin would be like the right person. But you don't want to see him again.
But go ahead.
Well, because like he's constantly running out to save people he doesn't like that much, right? Like Hook and Shibata or something, right? So like that doesn't really count. Like he would like it would be really satisfying to see him do something for somebody he cares about in a way that he'll know that it meant something to them. But of course, that's not really something you could do in wrestling. That would be something you would do in a TV show.
Well,
but I still kind of want it.
You can do the thing that nobody wants anybody to do. That we get in trouble for saying because we are TV wormed. So we're like, that would be good. But you can have him choose a person over a win, a person over a belt, a person over a wrestling, victory. Because I do think I just haven't quite managed to verbalize it. I love all of this. And I think it is working like 1,000%. Especially when you compare it to how other wrestling like reasoning works. I think that this is operating on just a much higher level than much of what we see. But I do keep thinking like there's something that's not being fully teased out here, and that I'm interested in whether Orange Cassidy is going to do stuff like face journey stuff that would tease it out more, where it's like Greg keeps saying he's a sociopath, but isn't getting that much into stuff like, I don't know, like, I can't think of it right now. It's like just some details about his behavior that I'm like, would be interesting.
I'd love to know what OC thinks. Like, I'd love to see him respond to some of this. Like, is he defensive towards Greg because he kind of knows that Greg's right? Is he pissed that Kris would say that when, he feels he's done X, Y, and Z for her? Like, I'd love to know if he is mad because he didn't expect them to say it, or if he's mad because he disagrees, Yeah.
Well, and I think he should disagree, honestly, because it's even though I think their arguments are compelling, of course there's stuff that you can point to where it's like, oh, Kris, OC never cared about you, but like he's the guy who, when you were going to give up multiple times, like he was on the sidelines being like, get the fuck back in the ring. Like you don't think that guy ever showed up for you. Like again, in the wrestling logic here is fine. Like, I'm not trying to tear it down, but like if I think OC does have to have an answer. And I think there's something in there too where it's like OC used to be so laconic and like didn't get worked up about almost anything. But the belt did really bring him to life in a way that we hadn't seen before. He really cared about defending the belt. I think that's something that would be interesting to play with more too, is to be like, it's not just fully about like when you were there, it's about how you were there. It's that like you cared more about this belt and came to life more for this belt than you ever did for me. And that's what made me realize that I had this anger in me. I didn't know it before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we really need him to sit down with JR or Renee and really get in there.
I didn't know. I mean, I have loved Renee this whole time, and I think she's been doing an amazing job this whole time. But the close-up series, and now having her close-up on someone I want to look at with a microscope, did make me be like, oh, she is the new JR. Like, we've got to get her interviewing these people. She can fix psychological issues.
What if she got Dustin to go on Meal at a Match, too?
Oh, my God, I would kill for that.
I would kill. And she did have a little energy because he said something where he was like, and I do still want to be on camera. And her energy was a little like she was immediately going to start being like, okay, well, let's make it. She said, she was like, you can be on commentary with me and RJ. She was like, let's get you in there,
honestly,
buddy.
Yeah. Like, Renee is the person that, like, if you meet her freshman year of college, you're golden. She's going to make sure you're going to all the stuff, like, parties.
Yep.
She's going to get you to agree to be on a team, sports team you didn't mean to. Like, she's going to work you into life, and you're going to be like, fuck.
But you're going to be grateful. That's a friend for life. That is a friend for life. Okay, I think we got to move on because of time. Let's quickly check in on, we're just, listen, we are 3 sensitive girls. If you have not picked that up from listening to us every week, well, not to assume that you listen to us every week, but if you've listened to us before at all, you've probably said like, wow, they're so sensitive.
They're delicate. Things upset them. Yeah.
They're delicate. I cannot continue to watch wrestling week to week with Tony and Taz giving off the vibes that they are giving off.
What is going on with them?
It makes me feel unsafe. It makes me feel like my parents are fighting and I have had to retreat into a bathtub. Like I'm hiding in a bathtub. Like, don't yell anymore. I have an insecure attachment style. I cannot have this kind of anger palpable on the commentary table.
It's wild. Has it just been like the last 2 or 3 weeks? But like Schiavone and Taz are like, it seems kind of serious. It's not like joke fighting. I don't like it.
It's really, especially from Tony it's been the vibe of like, they had a big fight and they didn't settle it, but they just said that they would move on. And neither of them are really trying to trigger the next big fight, but it's looming between them.
Yeah. Right, because you didn't get to whatever happened. I don't think you got to the kernel of it. I don't think you got the kernel out, so it's just filling with pus again. The pit is filling with pus again.
No.
You didn't extract the kernel.
And now you're losing your temper because someone says dude to you or whatever. It's just, we can't be doing this.
I really try not to be I mean, I know I've said on this podcast before, I do have intense dance mom energy when I watch wrestling, but I try to keep it in check and just be like, these are adult performers and their emotions don't need to dictate my emotions. So I've been to therapy, okay? But when they get that tone, I have the flashbacks I'm having to interactions I've had in my life where I was tense. I can't do it. I need, guys, go to the room. Lock yourselves in.
Where is JR to get this figured out?
Please.
I would give anything for a segment of Tony and Taz sitting on folding chairs with JR between them being like, fellas, let's get to the bottom of this.
What's going on? We've noticed some tension on commentary. Just see what happens. Oh,
God, it's been so brutal. The tone in Tony's voice on Dynamite this week when, like, Taz thought that Tony told him to stop singing and, like, was like, can't we have some fun? And Tony was like, we have fun. We have a lot of fun. I'm very fun. I was like, I really can't.
Was the fight about how fun we were? That's a weird fight.
Did Taz call you a stick in the mud?
He probably did.
Guys, please. We're sensitive, we're delicate, and we're your core audience. So just fix it for us.
Your core wrestling audience is pretty sensitive, I think.
Anyway, anything else to say about that?
No, work it out, guys.
Work it out. It's really harming my ability to get lost in the matches. And I'm really worried about you guys.
The back half of this week's show, I was genuinely on edge every time either of them talked. And then poor Excalibur is just there in the middle of them, just really doing his job the whole way through. Just like, Uncle Excalibur is never going to show you that he's uncomfortable.
No, can you imagine Excalibur getting touchy on the mic? No. He's telling me every special move name.
He's too busy knowing those moves.
There was something they were trying to get him in the middle of. They were picking, in the 4-way, Taz and Tony each picked a favorite who they thought were going to win, and they tried to get Excalibur to pick one. And Excalibur just did this perfect, I'm the only one sitting at this table. I can't hear anything. I'm just sort of doing my business. No one's really speaking to me.
I'm at work. I'm actually a man at work.
I love to be professional while I'm doing my job on camera. Something to think about for the rest of the table.
As for me, I simply maintain my calm. I just stay calm and composed the whole way through because I am live on TN television, TBS. Well, you get the point. All right. Well, we'll just please for us. Just please for your specialist girls. Just please don't do this to me anymore. That's all. All right. Okay, let's talk about someone who didn't harm us psychologically this week. Oh no. Well, it's about the commentary team. That was my actual transition, is that, Chris Jericho is stepping down from his commentary role on Rampage. So we have the quote here. Well, this is from Manola, but some of the language sounds... We didn't watch Collision this week because we're bad girls. But I think this was revealed on Collision. So Jericho is too valuable to be left exposed on commentary. Instead of Rampage, he'll focus on taking up more time on Dynamite and Collision. Which is funny. Very funny. And did also, though, I just wondered, what was going on there. Yeah. Because is Matt Menard doing Collision full-time?
Yeah, to Rampage anyway.
Yeah. So
he's been doing great, so I'm very pleased
no complaints. It made me interested in whether, they needed someone for Rampage, and Jericho was just like, yeah, I can handle that. I can do it. And was happy to hand it over to someone else or something. I don't know.
I assume if Jericho wanted to keep doing it, he would be doing it.
I think so, yes. I'm pretty sure. Imagine if I had a conspiracy theory where I'm like, I think Jericho got fired from commentary.
He got pushed out by Matt Menard. Matt Menard politics his way up there over Jericho.
People are talking about it, but he's one of the few men who can out-politic Jericho.
Jericho walked into work one day, and it was like Matt Menard had gotten Tony's ear, and you know how it is.
You know how it is.
Oh, my God. Okay, and then on Dynamite, Jericho got 4 backstage segments after showing up with a big smile on his face with 2 henchmen in tow. So that's Redwood and Bad Apple. That's Brian Keith. I love that. I think it's so fun.
I love it. I thought it was fantastic.
Adorable.
And he had a lot of advice to dole out. So he gave some tips to the camera guy about cinematography. He gave some tips to Angelo Parker, curse his name, about parenting. He gave some tips about partying to Private Party. And he gave someone I didn't recognize tips about how to scoop chicken and dumplings out at catering. You heard us right. Yeah. Big J took us to catering.
We finally got to see catering.
I was so excited. It looked better than
to us.
It looked better than I thought back there. I was like, oh, they've got quite a few hot options.
There was a fake plant on the catering table. They're not fucking around.
Yeah. They're driving that fake plant from city to city.
What if that was a real plant and it was for the dinosaurs to eat?
Oh, maybe.
That's sweet.
Maybe that was for Luchasaurus.
I guess Luchasaurus probably isn't a herbivore.
I was just about to say, but maybe he is. We don't know.
You know what? We've never seen him eat meat.
And his tongue is green, so I've never seen him eat meat.
So true.
Except Marco's stunt.
Right, possibly,
we've only heard about it. We have not seen the snuff film footage.
I like that we have theories that both Marco Stunt and Bobby Fish got eaten.
Yeah.
In different scenarios.
Oh, yeah, I guess, we have said that. That's something that Luchasaurus and Kyle could bond over. Wow. These were really fucking fun for me. They were fun.
I had a great time.
I liked them.
Some people didn't like him, but I thought it was very funny the whole way through. Like, his whole affect is so funny. And the different vibes that Brian Keith and Big Bill are giving off are so funny.
I think the different vibes are bringing a ton, where it's like Chris Jericho is in 100% advice mode. Big Bill is basically keeps being like, let's stop and smell the flowers. The sky is so blue. It's like, what are you learning at Learning Tree University? I'm a little worried.
Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. And Brian Keith, a little more attitudinal. I do think, like, Chris Jericho has gotten to a pretty insane place with the smile and wave. And I do think at some point someone should be like, are you brainwashed? But I think that Jericho should say no. Because I think it's fine. I think it's fun. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, there's a thing that wrestling does sometimes where they dislike something because of a hypothetical viewer getting confused. Where it's like, well, I thought it was too many segments because other people might feel that it was too close to the Elite. And I was like, did you think it was too close, or did you like it?
It's okay if you thought it, but
yeah,
have the courage of your convictions.
I don't know.
There's a lot of like people getting preemptively mad at things they haven't seen yet, and hypothetically mad. It's interesting.
Whatever.
This is interesting.
This is the kind of stuff that I like. They've set it up like really well. This is carrying out characterization. It's clearly going somewhere, and of course I love it. Of course I love it.
I can't wait for a little goof now and then.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to add more branches to the learning tree and have more tree nicknames and someone else bringing an insane energy in a totally new and different way.
I'm very interested to see what happens with Private Party, who didn't seem that receptive to attending Learning Tree University, but honestly, you never know what people will agree to once they get out there in the limelight with Jericho.
In real life, didn't Tony Khan offer to pay for college for Private Party, and they were like, it's not for us?
Which rules.
So funny. So funny.
Also, someone in our Discord said that it's I wish I could remember who said this, but it's going to be perfect for Brian Keith at some point to actually say, never count out Chris Jericho. I'm going to love. Like, someone needs to slip that line in his back pocket because it's going to be so funny, and there's going to be a group of people, it pops huge.
I want that real bad. This week he gave us make sure that baby respects Chris Jericho, which was so perfectly deranged. I mean, that's the other thing about, like, obviously we do sometimes we're just like, that made no sense, but at a certain point, once you're into wrestling, like, if it's good, as we've always said, and most of it doesn't make that much sense, it turns out. So it's just really important that it be funny or fun or smart or good. But
one of those things.
There's got to be something.
Just one is enough. Like 2 or 3 of those would be great, but we can't keep our expectations too high.
No. We don't. So
no, we sure don't.
Yeah. So I thought this was great. Keep it up, Big J, and please take us other places backstage. And we'd love to see other angles on catering. We'd love to see, I don't know, just various hallways and stuff.
Where do people hang out? Where is this happening?
Show
us. Are people
still
still
in the
playing
background.
b-ball backstage? Is there b-ball stuff going on?
Love to know.
Show that to us. Are people weightlifting? Are they flexing their muscles? Are they doing yoga? What are they up to?
Yeah.
What's happening in the rich community of the backstage environment?
I do miss the pandemic days. Remember that big room that they would just do the BTE trials in? And it would just be like that one room would have 25 wrestlers all throwing mustard packages.
The pandemic era was the best for us as girls who like to get a little unhinged shoot content. People were just always doing stuff.
Do you think we could have gotten into wrestling now, with the level of backstage content that we get now?
No.
I sort of don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, it's not impossible, but it would just be so much harder because remember, Mary did try to get us with actual wrestling content for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until
limited uptake.
Yeah, it wasn't until that I saw the shot of Brandy with OC that I was like, oh, I really like this. And that wasn't like shoot, but that you were just like, oh, this is not wrestling, but now I'm like interested in the wrestling personality.
And I feel like shoot Instagram content then got us to when OC and Chuck Taylor were roommates, and
we like workplaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just like to observe men at work. That's kind of our whole thing.
Men at work. and then we watch the wrestling, and now we have the rich appreciation that you know and love for moves.
And now, of course, we're move girls all
the time. The listeners know. They listen every week. They know how much we love moves. So get just a little more shoot content. It doesn't have to be real shoot content. Be fake shoot.
No, you can make stuff
be
up. No problem.
Secret kayfabe.
Work us.
just film each other like you're in the office. That's all we really want.
It is kind of like I do. Like I was saying earlier, like I want like just that people complain, like bitching about each other and being annoyed. And actually, one thing I liked about The Office when it came on was like, oh, you actually don't see the emotion of being irritated by the people around you on television hardly at all. But it's a very every day of my life. That's what I'm experiencing. So it's nice to see your life reflected that way.
Yeah. A little mockumentary formatting wouldn't go awry. All right. Okay. So final topic of the night, we are going to just have a little quick convo about MJF, who has returned to TV. He opened the show with what I've called a scant 11 to 12-ish minutes of promoing. I thought for MJF this was quite restrained, but we did enter a little on edge about it, I will say. So he promoted by himself, and then Roosh came out, and they had a little back and forth. He did kind of a segment. He was kind of talking about being home, watching TV, watching AEW while he was gone. And he called all of our new hires, quote, a bunch of children. And then kind of went through a couple of them to do some like MJF style insults. So he's being like, Okada doesn't have muscles. Swerve isn't good at keeping friends, and he doesn't talk good. And Will Ospreay has British snaggle teeth, is what he said. And we'll get into it. Anyway, so then Roosh came out. They did some back and forth. We had some of that classic racially charged humor that I guess all wrestling fans must love. And then they did a little fisticuffs in the ring. End segment. Now, who has an initial thought about he's back, baby? Okay. What do you think?
I am trying to keep an open heart, but I didn't love I hate when he does the racially charged stuff. It's just very.
That's what I prefer.
I also, his insults against Swerve and Okada and Will Ospreay were all confusing because they just weren't good burns. Like Okada doesn't have a good body, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Honestly, that was the biggest. There was a bit of kind of back and forth discourse in the community after this about like, I don't know, just like MJF style insults and like whether they're okay or whether they should be happening, I guess. And how do I want to put this? The first thing was that there was a period in this promo where he was running through his insults, where I just suddenly was like, is your new gimmick just that you're going to be, like, testing, like, stand-up material? Like, is that, like, that? It was a little bit the energy of you're, like, watching a not very good comedy special, and you're just like, I just don't think you thought about it that much, and I kind of, like, would like to watch something else. Like, it just, and that's not, I mean, that really is, that's not even really about the content. It's not like being like some of the stuff he said is offensive. I'm just like, well, it's like offensive to my intellect. Like, it's, I don't think it's that deeply thought out. Like, I know that like,
like when MJF's at his best, he's like pretty funny and like he'll, hit burns that you're like, oh yeah, like that was like entertaining. Whereas these were just like, just baffling. I just found them and not not funny or anything.
Yeah,
just
right.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, insults are often, I was kind of grappling with this earlier. I was like, insults are often incorrect. Like, insults are often somebody saying something that you're like, that's not right. But somehow the level of not right that he achieved in this was just, like, really wild to me. Like, when he was, like, being like, and Will Ospreay has British snaggle teeth. And I immediately was like, I gotta go look at his teeth, I guess. And then I looked him up and I was like, seems like a really normal mouth of teeth. Like, they seem fine. So then it's like, we're just so removed from reality that it's like, well, you couldn't think of anything else that you could like say about him. Like, you couldn't just be like, you have the energy of a golden retriever. Like, if you look like you would eat another dog's poop. Like,
you have 90s boy band hair. Like,
I saw someone describe Ospreay as having throw the ball again energy. Which fucking kills me.
It just, like, to me on that level, it just felt like, you know, I want to have a good time. Like, I want you to say things that are mean, but in a, like, that I'm like, oh, I could definitely see where that came from. Yes, I can certainly see why you said that. And I didn't, so when he doesn't achieve that, I'm like, it's not that I'm telling him not to be mean. I'm not saying that heels can't be mean. I'm saying they should be mean good. I'm saying you should do a better job.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and then after this, too, then it was weird because Roosh came out and I was like, thank God, like, someone interrupt this. And then Roosh was clearly working heel, like, insulting back. So I was like, okay, so MJF, he's being the baby face, like, which is, like, whatever. But it's just, I don't know. It's a confused interaction between the two of them, I felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, I do really want Roosh to kick MJF's ass so that it was successful in that respect, I guess. But I'm not sure that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I felt quite bloodthirsty by the end of it. Like, I was like, Roosh, everyone says that you work so stiff, but I think you could work even stiffer. I think you could work hard, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's like, I think I just ended up in a space that I end up a lot of times when an IWC kind of discourse starts going, where I'm just like, okay, well, it's not really, I'm not trying to weigh in morally right now. Although, again, I do think that maybe the racist stuff, like, for me, it's like kind of like a no, but I really would just like you to do good work. I would just like you to do good, like, come up with good written insults that, like, get to something that would actually, like, piss somebody off because they can see, oh, that's why he's needling me there, because it's my weak spot. Like, that's what I would enjoy to see as a viewer, because I would like it. I think it would be better. So it's really, it's about art, baby.
And he's had such a long time off to think of these insults, and this is where we landed. Like, whew.
I know. Bring me your little notebook. Let me see what kind of little thoughts you've been scribbling down. He can be quite good. I think that's the other thing that's a little frustrating, is it's such a classic little archetype sometimes of, like, your smartest student who doesn't want to work, and it's like, oh my God, please just be smart. It's not hard.
Yeah, right.
You'd be good at it if you just worked at it. So I don't know what's going on. And I don't really know what he's trying to do with the character right now. So that's where the wait and see stuff comes into. But I don't know. Just do good.
Just do good.
Just do good. That's all we ask.
Just simply give a good promo.
Just do things that are good and stop doing things that are bad. It's not hard.
We only want to see good stuff. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And I know we're weird for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
And I know MJF probably hasn't thought, oh, I should do good promos.
He hasn't
but
thought
now
it,
that we've
no.
let him know.
When we send our emails, we'll
Hello, it's me. I've been wondering if after all this time you might just do it good. Just do it this time.
Have you considered doing it good?
Okay, well, I think we nailed that. Some great advice as per usual.
Scoop the dumplings from the bottom.
Chris Jericho cooking show.
What did you say? The people who need the advice. The people. Who need the advice are the people you don't think are going to need it.
Remember, it's the people who think they don't need the advice who actually need it the most. He said that, and I said, right. Oh, hell yeah, brother. You are
MJ.
so right for that one. Mm-hmm. It's true for many. Was there anything you desperately wanted to talk about that I failed to bring up?
It was
the
a fun week.
Convince the Bucks to take their shirts off, no one will ever say shit to me about daddy ass again.
That's called rehabilitation.
That's right.
There.
That's right.
You're going to create a kind of like a little headcanon where you're like, and Billy Gunn told them to take the shirts off. He sat them down and he said, boys, it's actually so important at every age to just, when you get out there, take the shirts off.
Take the shirts off.
That was really good of Billy Gunn to do. He is rehabilitated now, I think.
We've
made this up.
I will be out there on the Billy Gunn squad.
What I want now, though, I want the shirts to come off, but I want the pearls to stay on.
Oh, my God.
Do you think that we could get that maybe someday?
Nah, but actually they both should be doing it. But little wrestling pants, shirtless with pearls, my God. My God, the look.
That's a slutty look right there. Yes.
I was going to say stylish, but sometimes they're the same. Stylish, slutty, sexy, and...
Sexy little look.
Perfect. Well, okay, Billy Gunn, so we'll email you at hello@allelitewrestling.com, and that'll be one of our many emails this week to let you know to get started on that. On that note, I've been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
Our theme is by Kris. Oh, it's Tunnel Talk. This is Tunnel Talk. So first of all, this is Tunnel Talk. Second of all, our theme is by Kris Corkin. Third of all, you can find us on Twitter and Tumblr at Tunnel Talk Pod, via email at tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. You can find us on our anywhere you get your podcast, pretty much. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out a bunch of other great podcasts on the network. And you can find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you get them. Anywhere that you get them, that's where I would subscribe if I were you. Stay frosty. It's hot out there, so stay frosty. And that's all.
Someone in our Discord was like, when did they have a Tumblr? And someone was like, it's in the outro. And he was like, I don't listen to the outro. And I was like, I can't imagine why. No notes. Hello? Are there people that don't know that we say stay frosty? Anyways, top 10 outro. See you guys later.
I absolutely beg of you listeners, if you are still here with us, please God stay frosty.
Please.
Please come back next week.
Brace yourself for something fuel nominal. Unleaded 88 is the clear fuel choice. It's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. And it's grown by Iowa corn farmers. Now that's totally worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88.